If you are a JavaScript developer, RxJS is a wonderful library which can help you write many complex use cases in just few simple lines. In this video, we are going to find out how does it make so and why is it able to do so. But before that, let's look at the brief background of RxJS. The RxJS is the JavaScript version of a popular library called ReactiveX. And ReactiveX simplifies reactive programming, or, more specifically, the asynchronous and the event-driven programming using observables. Because of the simplicity and usefulness, the ReactiveX library has its copies in many different languages. If we look at the weekly download numbers of RxJS, we can clearly figure out its huge popularity. Having said that, due to its large API base, it often looks intimidating to start with. As we are going to see next, the library is built on a very simple concept. Once we get familiar with it, we could start enjoying its simplicity. We hope to take you there at the end of this video. Our focus in this video will mainly be on two things. First, the underlying concept of using streams, and second, the value adds due to the use of streams. Let's start with what's missing in the core JavaScript APIs. Well, in JavaScript, we do have event handlers like onClick, onKeyUp, onKeyDown, and so on. These event handlers let us know when an event arrives so that we can take the appropriate action. Similarly, we have callbacks, promise, async await for handling asynchronous calls. These APIs let us know when an external call has responded. These are all designed for handling individual events or individual async calls. But most of our common business scenarios would require us to handle them not as individual ones but as a series of interconnected ones. For example, even for a simple login button or a submit button, the user might press multiple times. So, each click has to be handled in connection with its previous one. We need to ignore if the previous attempt is still in progress, which obviously requires custom code. Similarly, in an online document editor, we may like to discard duplicate saving attempts by the user when one saving request is still in progress. Again, while handling a group of tasks, there could be several use cases. 1. We may run them one after the other in a series. 2. We might run them in parallel. 3. We may run them as a chain where step 1 is the input for step 2 and so on. These are very common use cases but needs custom coding since the API is handling them separately. And, moreover, with async behaviors, the code becomes complex very fast. For example, implementation of a call chain with callbacks would result into deep nested code commonly known as callback hell. How does RxJS solve these problems? The RxJS library smartly solves these problems by allowing us to source the incoming events not as individual ones but as a streams of events. The component that help us here is called the observables. These observables can source data from anything. It could be user clicks on a button, the data from a HTTP endpoint or a WebSocket endpoint, or even some data from a simple list or an array. It can source data from anywhere and emit them to an observer who is interested and subscribes to it. How does the stream of the events or data help? Let's look at the set of events shown as stars, triangles, circles, etc. If we give separate individuals to handle these items, will they have answers to the questions like, when did the last one come? How many have gone by? Is it a duplicate? What if we hand over all of them as a stream to one individual and similar sets of questions? Obviously, it would be easy for him answer as all items will go through him. With these information in hand, let's ask ourselves few questions. Can he filter the inputs using conditions like shape, color, or time intervals? Can he filter the duplicates? Can he group by number of items or similar items? And, again, the answer is, sure. Why not? It's because all of them go via him. Similarly, if it were a list of tasks, he could have run them in series, run them in parallel, or run them as a chain. And he could have done many more stuffs. Now let's see how RxJS has taken these advantages of receiving the input data as streams. The RxJS has used these advantages by implementing a large set of operators covering most of our common use cases found across the project. These operators include simple APIs for filtering, for grouping, for various order of task execution and many such stuffs. Let's look at few of them for our understanding. For example, there is a simple operator named take to filter the incoming data. If we pass the input data through this take operator as above, it will emit only the first 3 data and ignore the rest. If our requirement is to skip the first 3, then we can simply replace the take operator with a skip as shown. This will just do the opposite. Emit everything only after the first 3. How simple, is not it? Again, let's say we want to run a set of tasks, T1, T2, T3 coming via an input stream input tasks over a period of time. If we want to execute them one after the other in a series, we can use the operator called concat_map. If the order is not important and we want to execute them in parallel, we can simply replace the operator with a new one called merge_map. Take an example where an user is pressing the login button multiple times and thereby making multiple login attempts while a login process is still going on. Obviously, we should discard any overlapping login attempts. For such situations, RxJS provides an operator called exhaust_map to discard the unwanted overlapping requests. So, what have we got finally? So many complex requirements, available in terms of simple operators. Wonderful, is not it? These operators hide lots of complexities from us and, thereby, minimize our development efforts significantly and make our code look simple. Moreover, these ready-made, well-designed and well-tested operators can also provide much better performance and keep our code less error-prone and robust. That's all in this video on why should we use RxJS. I hope this video clarifies the usage and removes any doubts about going for RxJS as a JavaScript developer. Thanks for watching. Do leave your comments or queries in the comments section below. And please like and subscribe for more such videos in future.